This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
All right, joining me now for a little post-vice presidential debate analysis are two of Talk Business and Politics' stellar contributors. I've got Sylvester Smith and Tamika Edwards with me. Thanks to both of y'all for being with me here. Let's talk a little bit about who won this debate tonight. If you had to rate the two candidates' performances in there, Tamika, I'll let you come first. Who do you think won?
Absolutely, Kamala Harris, hands down. I think that she was much more focused on her answers. She was much more focused on ensuring that the American people knew the voting record. Also, she had a great command of displaying her background and what she brings to the table. And so, hands down, I believe Kamala Harris commanded the debate and she won.
About you, what is your take on who was the big winner tonight?
Roby, my opinion is that the American people are the big winner tonight because unlike last week, we actually had a informed, clear, thoughtful, and respectful debate. The American people actually got to hear each candidate speak, learn a little bit about their platform, and most importantly, it was something you could watch with your children. And so that certainly was an improvement upon last week.
Question to both of y'all. So, Sylvester, I'll let you go first on this one. Did you think the candidates answered the questions? I mean, for me, I was consistently waiting for the answer to the moderator's question. Sometimes they got around to it. A lot of times they went back to speak about other things. That was, to me, one of the biggest negatives of this.
Well, Roby, they did what politicians always do. They answered the questions that they liked, and the questions that they didn't like, they came up with some stuff that they wanted to say about an earlier question that they didn't have the opportunity to get to. And unfortunately, that's just what the political consultants tell them. I frankly wish that American politics could be a little bit more genuine, a little bit more transparent, and let's try to answer the questions. But both sides just continue to play that game that they always do. And that, frankly, is always disappointing.
Yeah. Tamika, for you, did the candidates answer your questions?
So I do think on some of the questions they answered what they wanted to, but I think that was the pattern that was set by the vice president. I do believe that Senator Harris was forward in answering many of the questions, particularly around the pandemic. She was focused on what was happening with the economy. And so I believe that it was displayed that many of the questions could not be answered, maybe with Vice President Pence, because some of the things were not just present in their record.
Again, Sylvester, I'll come to you first on this one. What was the best moment of the debate for you, whether it was Pence or Harris, or you could answer for both of them? Where do you think was their best moment during the debate?
Well, they each had awesome one-liners. For example, when the vice president told Senator Harris that she had a right to her own opinion, but she did not have a right to create her own facts. I felt like that was a really good moment for him to kind of point out that just like Vice President Biden, she's not always accurate and sometimes fast and loose with the facts. For Senator Harris, I appreciate the fact that when she made the analogy about foreign policy and she was talking about our allies as our friends, and she really broke down a complex issue in a way that many Americans could understand. I think it was just like you were talking to a neighbor. And I believe that Americans, especially independent and undecided voters, Roby, will gravitate to somebody that can bring these complex issues down to their level.
Tamika, how about you? What do you think were the best moments of the debate, either for one or both candidates?
So I think Vice President Pence tried to connect with the American people by becoming much more of a storyteller. So oftentimes he went to storytelling in order to support his point. I do believe one of the best moments was, well, there were several best moments for Senator Harris, but I think one of them, just because I enjoy history and connecting it to what's happening right now, is when she talked about the history and what's happening with the Supreme Court nominee and ensuring that even Honest Abe said to wait and not to vote or confirm on a Supreme Court nominee. And so I think that history lesson was great, but I also think that Vice President Pence tried to connect with the American people through his storytelling.
So Vice President,
Can I jump in here?
go ahead.
Because here's something I really want to get out. You asked us earlier about them answering the questions. Vice President, appreciate you bringing up the Supreme Court. Vice asked Senator Harris directly, will you pack the court? And she spent 4 minutes talking around that issue and spinning Abe Lincoln yarns rather than just being transparent with the American people that when we lose this battle on the Supreme Court nomination, you're going to see a 12-person Supreme Court. And so I really wish that she would have just been honest about that. And that was a question that I really would have loved her to answer.
This is where Vice President Pence also did not answer some questions that were pointedly put to him.
And particularly that on racial justice.
All right. Vice presidential debates typically, I mean, I would just say historically have never turned a presidential election. The goal for a vice presidential candidate is to make it out without a major gaffe. And even in those times where we've seen some historic punches that have kind of landed, it's just not changed the outcome of the races that much. Do you think this vice presidential debate will be different? If it's kind of viewed as a draw, does it just keep things where it is? Or do you think this could be a game changer? Tamika, I'll let you go first.
So I will say that I believe the fly will be a game changer in this instance, because basically, as Vice President Pence was talking about racial justice, we saw the landing of a fly. And so I think maybe many people were distracted by that, and that will become one of the main points of the vice president's of the debate. And so I will tell you that I agree with Sylvester in that this was a much more cordial debate, but I also think that the moderator pretty much failed in controlling or making sure that she had a good handle on the responses.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on the moderator's failure there. And I've moderated debates before. It can be very difficult, but there can be some more forceful ways to steer things back to the conversation. Sylvester, I'll give you the last word here about, will we see any movement from this vice presidential debate in the overall race?
On balance, both candidates did a phenomenal job. Senator Harris, her ability to convince a jury to see things her way was on full display. Her charisma and charm were in full effect, and she did a phenomenal job. Vice President Pence, he was pastoral, he was confident, he was sincere, and I believe that he did a phenomenal job. Unfortunately, on balance, I do believe that the incident with the fly is going to create a social media firestorm and a bit of a mockery of this entire endeavor this evening. And I do believe that that is going to hurt the Trump-Pence campaign in the long run, sadly.
Well, I don't have a good song to play us out on about, Fly Girl or anything like that, but maybe next time we'll cue up the music a little bit better. Tamika Edwards and Sylvester Smith, I appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much for being with us on such quick notice here, and we'll get this out to everybody on the internet and let them see what we have to say. Thank you very much, y'all.
You're welcome.
Thank you.